Welcome. The topic we'll be discussing in this lecture is real-time operating system. Real-time operating system is also called as real-time systems. In short, it is just called as a real-time system. So first, let us try to understand what is meant by a real-time system. First, let us try to understand what is meant by real-time. Real-time means what? Real-time is a quantitative notion of time measured using a physical clock. Real time is a quantitative notion of time measured using a physical clock. So basically, it means that the real time applications, the applications that is run on the top of the real time operating systems are time critical applications. That is, at any cost, the task should be completed within the specific time. If the task was not completed within the specific time, then the system will fail. And And if the system fails, the amount of loss will be very huge. Okay. So here is an example. So real-time systems, operating system, what it means in the sense, these are basically event-driven systems. These are basically event-driven systems. That is, uh, if some event occurs, then some action must be taken within a specific time. If an event occurs, then the action should be completed within a specific time, and the events are sensed through the sensors. There will be some sensors. The type of the sensor may vary depending on the application. So these sensors will measure some typical parameters like temperature, heat, light, whatever it may be. And and as long as certain event does not occurs, say as long as the temperature does not exceed a certain degree Celsius, it won't do anything. But if that event occurs, the temperature increases a specific limit, or if heat increases a specific threshold limit, or some uh, unexpected event happened, then some action should be taken, and that action should be completed within a specific time. So one typical example might be maybe in an industry based system where something is getting heated, you should keep on monitor you through the sensors that if the temperature is less than 500 degrees or not. The moment temperature becomes more than 500 degree Celsius, then the coolant shower should be on within 500 millisecond time. The coolant shower should be on, and it should be pouring on it, and it should be and this process should be completed within 500 milliseconds once the temperature exceeds 500 degrees. So these are called as time critical applications. So there should be a physical clock in the sense there should be a clock inside these devices, and these clock should measure the time at a very small intervals. Okay? The regular clock mm, which we use in our day-to-day life, these clocks ticks at 1 second at a rate of 1 second. Okay, but the clocks that are used in the computer, they may be ticking maybe in terms of microseconds or in terms of nanoseconds or even less than that. Okay, so these clocks should ensure that this particular action is completed within the 500 millisecond of time. Suppose suppose if the coolant shower, if you are unable to switch out the coolant shower within 500 millisecond of time, then it means that system fails. Because of that, there may be huge loss. Maybe something may get burned. All these things will happen. Okay, so real time systems in so the key takeaway is real time systems means it is a quantitative notion of time. The time is measured very specifically, and action should happen within that time at any cost. Okay, but that is not the case with a traditional operating system. So in a traditional operating system, it is a qualitative notion of time. That is always we use terms like uh, before, after, sometime, eventually, etc. This type of terms we will use. That is this event should completed before that event, and that event should occur after this event, or sometimes before this happened, this should be happened, like that. Okay. So before, maybe like before writing a content to the hard disk, first it should be in the memory, something like that. So we won't strictly define the time by using quantitative terms in case of traditional operating system. Whereas in a real-time operating system, the time, these are time critical applications, so quantitative notion of time is used. So this is the core difference between the real-time operating system and the traditional operating system. Okay. So, so as we already discussed, the real-time operating systems are characterized by time, and they are time critical applications. Okay, and most of the real-time operating systems are are most of the real-time operating systems or will be running in an embedded system, and these real-time systems will be safety critical systems. Okay, so what is an embedded system? Embedded system means a system in which the the processor will be placed in a single chip, or a controller will be a part of that system. A microcontroller or a processor will be a part of the particular unit. Such a unit is called as an embedded system. For example, nowadays if you see any device, most of the electronic device we purchase, these all these devices you can call it as an embedded system, because it comes with a microcontroller or it comes with a processor. Example, smartphone is an embedded system. Okay, it has, because it has a processor, and on top of that processor it runs several apps. Okay, if you purchase a washing machine, the washing machine also is an embedded system, because it will have a processor. Okay, because you want to set some automatic style of washing, different, there may be different programs for washing. Okay, in a routine schedule, or in a hard way to wash, like that, maybe different styles. Okay, and if you purchase a television, that also comes with a microcontroller, so that we call it a smart TV. Or if you purchase a fridge, that also comes with a microcontroller, right? In car also there will be in automobiles also there will be microcontroller to control fuel injection, or to open the airbag in case of accidents. Okay? So most of the real-time systems are embedded systems. But that doesn't mean that all real-time systems are embedded systems. No, there may be some embedded systems which are not real-time systems. Okay, most of the real-time systems are embedded systems, but that doesn't mean that all real-time systems are embedded systems. So that is what this diagram says. So from this diagram, what you can understand in the sense, uh, see, there is basically two circles. One is a real-time system, another one is an embedded system. So you can see here most of the embedded systems are real-time systems, but there are some embedded systems which are not real-time. Okay, and also there are some real-time systems which are not embedded. Okay, so this part of the real-time system is not embedded, right? But generally, if you see, a typical embedded system will be a real-time system. And real-time systems are safety critical system. That is, that is, if something went wrong, that is whatever the certain action should happen within the specific time. If those actions were not taken, then it may create uh, safety issues also. Okay, it may create human loss, or it may create loss of property, or it may create a financial loss. So these applications are called as safety critical applications. So most embedded systems are real-time systems. Okay, but there are also some embedded systems which are not real-time systems. Okay, so here is an example which is embedded and real-time. Example, this automobile airbag activation unit, automobile fuel injection unit, device controllers in industry applications. All these are examples for real-time systems which are embedded. Okay, but if you take this second example, air traffic monitoring and control, this is real time, but it is not embedded. It is the air traffic monitoring. So there will be some unit in the the aerodrome which will which will know about the directions and at what elevation each flights were flying. Okay, and they will give direction from the ground station like which flight should take should fly at what level of elevation and at what direction they should go. All these things. But this is also real time application. But this is not an embedded application. Okay, so embedded means the controller will be with the device. So here it is not in the device. It is not in the flight. Everything is done in the ground station. Only the flights are sending some signals. So air traffic monitoring and control is an example for a real-time system, which is not an embedded system. Yeah. So safety critical application means if these applications should respond within the specific time. If they fail to respond within the specific time, then it will lead to financial, property, or human loss. Okay. So basically, the real-time operating system helps to ensure that it meets the system meets the deadlines. It is very critical that it should meet the deadlines. So one of the primary mechanism of a real-time system is task scheduling. So they should schedule the task in an effective way such that all applications will meet their deadlines. And embedded systems or event-driven system, they respond based on events. So one example is the automobile airbag system. So there will be motion sensors in the automobile, and these sensors will keep sensing for any collision. And if they detect a collision, then the system should deploy the airbag 10 seconds or less than the time. Okay. When there is a collision, then the airbag should be deployed with less than 10 milliseconds of time. If you are if the system is unable to deploy the airbag within less than 10 millisecond of time, then the system will fail, and then there may be there may be a human loss, or there may be a great accident might happen which may threat the life of the human. Okay. So most of the embedded system respond to external events. Okay, if the response is late, the system fails. So this is also this airbag this airbag motion sensors is also what it is also responding to external event. Collision is an external event. So when a collision occurs, it immediately responds with the airbag. And it should respond within the specific time. If it is delayed, then we say that the system is failed. Okay. Then there is another core important difference between general purpose operating system and real time operating system. The objective of the general purpose operating system is to minimize the response time and to ensure fairness. So if you take any application in a general purpose operating system, they always try to minimize the response time and to ensure the fairness. Okay. But that is not the case with real-time operating system. In a real-time operating system, the real-time operating system will not try to reduce the response time. They only try to perform think perform things within the deadline. They only try to do the action within the deadline. If the action is done within the deadline, it means the task is successful. Okay, if it is not done within deadline, the task is failed. That's all. See, you should not see this. What does it mean in the sense? In a general purpose operating system, say for example, a particular task T1. Okay, if the task is completed within 10 milliseconds, the user may be happy. Okay, but the next time if you complete within 9 millisecond, if the system completes within 9 millisecond, the user may be more happy. If it is completed within 1 millisecond, the user may be very happy. Okay, if it is completed between with less than 0.15 millisecond, uh, so then also the user will be very happy. Okay, so actually there is no limit on this reducing the time. So always the general purpose operating system will be trying to reduce the uh, minimize the response time. Okay, So, or forget about the user happiness. If you the extent to which you reduce the response time, what happens? The effectiveness of the system increases. The system's performance level increases in a general purpose operating system, because this is how we measure the performance of a general purpose operating system. How we measure the performance? Mainly based on the response time, how quickly it responds. Okay, is it getting delayed or not? But this is not the case in a real-time operating system. The real-time operating system, we say there is a deadline that this particular action should happen within 50 milliseconds. 50 milliseconds. Then the system's performance is how it is calculated, in the sense, does the work was done within 50 milliseconds or not? Yes or no, that's all. So it doesn't mean that if the work was completed at 49th millisecond, it is more efficient, it is less efficient. And if the work is completed at a 10th millisecond, it is more efficient. No, that is not the case. So at any cost, the work should be completed within the deadline. That's all. If it exceeds the deadline, then the entire system will fail. If it completed before the deadline, then it will be successful. Okay. There is no reward for completing with lesser amount of time in case of real-time operating system. Whereas there is a reward in if the task is completed in lesser amount of time in general purpose operating system. The reward is in terms of better performance. Okay. Real-time operating system, there is no reward if the task is completed with lesser time. Only thing is the task should be done within the deadline. Okay. So when you can call something as a real-time system, uh, we can call something as a real-time system if it has at least one real-time task. See, it means that a real-time system can perform more than one task. Say a typical real-time system, say it is performing some 10 jobs, T1 to 10 tasks, T1 to T10. Okay. It is not that all the tasks will be real-time task. Maybe some 3 4 tasks may be real time, other tasks may not be real time. Okay. So there may not be any time constraints on the other task. Other tasks can be there is no strict time constraints. Maybe for 2 3 tasks there may be strict time constraints. Okay. So in a particular system, if there is at least one task which is a time constraint, which is a real time constraint task, then such a system will be called as a real time system. Okay. And the results produced by the real time system should be logically correct, and also the result should be created within the stipulated time. So time is more important. If the result is created after the time, then it is waste. Then we say that the system is failed, even if it is logically correct. Okay. So the objective is not only to create logically correct results, but also the result should be generated within the stipulated time. Fine. The next thing what we'll be discussing is why operating system is required for an embedded device. See, generally, so this is one of this is a nice question, because if you see an embedded device, it is normally going to perform a specific task. Okay. So it is going to perform a specific task. Say this airbag controller, it is going to do only one task. What it is going to do? It is just going to check whether the motion sensor is going to detect whether there is a collision or not. As long as there is no collision, it need not do anything. When there is a collision, it should open the airbag. So that is only one job. So most of the time, this question arises that should a real-time system should have an operating system or not, or can we just load the program which is required for that particular task? In this case, if it is the airbag, opening the airbag system without an operating system, why can't we just program that alone? Just keep checking the uh, a collision, the motion sensor, let it keep checking whether there is a collision or not. If there is a collision, let it open the airbag. Okay. Why can't we do that? The reason is the reason is uh, in today's case, in most of the embedded systems, it is not only going to perform one functionalities. It is going to perform multiple functionality. So if you take your mobile phone, you are not going to perform only, you are not going to only make a call. For making a call also a controller is required. Okay. You are not only going to make a call, you may use the mobile phone to make a call, to chat in WhatsApp, to chat in Telegram, to send an email, or you may have many other applications on that, and all the applications should run. Okay, so then you need an operating system, because it's not one application, there are multiple applications are running. So there should be a program which manages all these things. So you need something called as multitasking. You may open more than one window at a time. So who will control this multitasking, and who will schedule the tasks, like job scheduling? Who will schedule the job? Which job should be done by which job should be executed by processor and when? And who will perform process synchronization? Okay. And also to perform memory management, file system management, for networking, it is for connecting with other devices. When you switch on the Bluetooth, your mobile should be connected with other devices, and for graphical controlling the graphical displays, for performing IO operation, for power management, for all these things you need an operating system. So that is the main reason why an operating system is required in an embedded device. Okay. For example, if you take a typical smartphone operating system code, it contains over 5 million lines of code. The operating system that is running in a smartphone. Okay, it is either Android or iOS. The how much lines of code these operating system have, in the sense they have more than 5 million lines of code. Okay. Now say that a particular now say that in a particular device you don't want to, in a particular embedded device, say that you don't want to have a separate operating system, you don't want to have a separate embedded operating system. Rather, you want to create an application, without an operating system. Okay. Now what happens, this application should do all the job of the operating system. Are you getting? This application should do all the job of the operating system. Okay. Now the now what will happen, the lines of the length of the program will increase, so it will take very long time to code, and also it will become very costly. Okay. So if you write such an application which is not depending on an operating system, and if you want the application itself to perform all the job of the operating system, then the number of lines of the code will increase dramatically, and it may take very long time to program. It may take several months or years, and also the cost of the code will become very costly. Okay. But on the other hand, if you see a typical embedded operating system, the license fee of a typical embedded operating system is around 100 rupees only per device, which is very much less than a desktop operating system. If you want to purchase a Windows licensed version, it costs something around 3,500. If you want to have a genuine Windows in your system, maybe if in your laptop, sometimes if you purchased from the showroom, you will have the genuine operating system, then you might have paid extra this much amount, because it's not extra, because you have the genuine operating system. So the genuine desktop operating system will cost around 3,000 to 5,000, but the embedded operating systems, it costs around 100 rupees only. So it is not advisable to write your own application and again writing the operating system code by yourself. By that, only the length of the code will increase, and the time for developing such an application will increase, and also again its cost will increase. Okay. So hence it is not suggested to go for it is not suggested to go for embedded systems without operating systems. Okay. But still, if the if you are for very low end devices, and if there is only one application is going to run, then you may consider using embedded system without operating system. Okay, that is directly you can import an application that will do the job without the help of the operating system. One such example is One such example is air conditioner temperature control. So here air conditioner temperature control in the sense, uh, the, the the air conditioner will have an embedded controller. That is, it will have a microcontroller or a microprocessor, and there will be some sensor which will sense the room temperature, and depending on the room temperature, the air conditioner will be either switch on the air conditioner or switch off the air conditioner. Okay, so it may check if the temperature exceeds 28 degrees C, then it will switch on the air conditioner. Okay, then again, if the temperature drops below 18 degrees C, then once again it will switch off. Okay, so from 18 degree to until it becomes 28, it will not switch on. The moment it reaches 28, again it will switch on. So this is a simple application. This can be done without the help of the operating system. So if the embedded device is a very low end devices, and if it has only one application without any complications, then probably you can think of having an embedded system without an operating system. Okay, but as of today's scenario, the embedded devices are getting more and more complex. It is not that you will have any embedded system with only one functionality. You will have many functionality. So so generally, you will not see an embedded system without an operating system. Okay. Fine. So next we'll be discussing the types of real-time system. So here we'll be discussing three types of real-time system. One is called as the hard real-time systems. The next is firm real-time systems, and the third one is soft real-time system. Okay, so real-time systems are basically classified into three categories. These are hard real-time system, firm real-time systems, and soft real-time systems. Okay. First, let us try to understand what is a hard real-time system. So hard real-time system means these are the real-time systems which are strictly time constraints. So these real-time systems are strictly time constrained. That is, if the deadline is not met, then the system will fail. That's it. Okay. And the deadlines are normally of the order of micro or milliseconds. That is, the deadline should be completed within certain microseconds or certain milliseconds. These are typically safety critical applications. That is, if these systems fail, then there will be either human loss or financial loss or property loss. So examples of such applications are industrial control applications. Okay. So there may be some industrial control applications to sense the heat of a liquid or the temperature of a liquid or the temperature of a pipe. As long as it is not exceeding a certain limit, it is fine. The moment it exceeds a certain limit, some action should be taken immediately. So such systems are called as hard real-time systems. The next one is a firm real-time system. A firm real-time system, if the deadline missed occasionally, the system will not fail. If the deadline missed occasionally, at some rare intervals, if the deadline is missing, then the system will not fail. But only thing, the results produced after deadline will be ignored. Okay, because after deadline, whatever the results will be produced, that will be ignored in a firm real-time system. Examples are video conferencing. Okay, say for example, uh, we are using two persons who are using video conferencing, either using Zoom or Google Meet or whatever it may be. Okay, source and destination, they are using video conferencing. So in video conferencing, what happens? The video frames will be sent at every time, because the person will change his position or the way in which he speaks. All this will change. So the video frame will be frame by frame. The video will be sent. Say for example, the first frame has reached on time. The second frame has reached on time. The third frame has not reached, but before that, the fourth frame has came. Okay, and after fourth frame, third frame is coming. Okay, so this is first frame. This is second frame. This is that is the destination is receiving fourth frame first and then the third frame. But originally first third was sent and then fourth. So now the destination has got first, second, and fourth. Now he is getting the third frame. So that is meaningless, right? So the destination will just ignore this third frame. Okay, that's it. So these type of applications can tolerate uh, if the deadlines are missed at occasional intervals. Okay. And another example is telemetry. Telemetry means some so it is some devices where say there is a device and some devices will be generating some data. Okay, it may be from a hospital or it may be from an industry. These device will be generating data. Say it's a hospital device. Say it is generating a patient's heartbeat. It is generating the data, and this data will be transmitted to some remote location. Okay, so telemetry means basically transmitting data to remote location. Okay, say some doctor, some other doctor is sitting in US. For him, this data is being transmitted. This data is transmitted from India to US. Let us assume like that. So now, if say this device is creating data at every 3 milliseconds. So every 3 millisecond, it is sending the heartbeat of the particular person. Okay. So what at what rate his heart is beating, that data it is sending. Say one of the data it is coming delayed. It is coming from the device it is generating. It should come after every 3 millisecond. Uh, but it is coming after 5 milliseconds. Okay. But the previous data has, but the next data has came on time. In that case, the destination will just receive, will just ignore whatever the data which is coming with a delay. So this is also same with satellite based surveillance. That surveillance means remote monitoring. Okay, satellite based surveillance are basically used for surveilling the military applications. Is there any military personnel or in the border of a country, or and also it is used to surveil the, what do you call, the the weapon store. Okay, is there any unnecessary movement near the weapon store? Okay, so these are video surveillance. So they will keep sending the frames to the person who is monitoring. And if sometimes if some frame is occasionally getting missed, then occasionally getting delayed, then that will be just ignored. So these are some of the examples for firm real-time systems. So this diagram, what it says in the sense, the task should be completed within the deadline. This is the deadline. Okay. But if it is, this is the utility. Okay. If it is done within the deadline, it is useful. Utility means it is usable. If it is coming after the deadline, then it is unusable. You cannot use it. You will just ignore that. So such systems are called as firm real-time systems. The next is soft real-time system. Okay. So in the soft real-time system, if the deadline is missed, the system will not fail. Okay. But what will happen in the sense, the extent to which the deadline is delayed, to that extent, the utility will decrease. That is, the usability will decrease. Okay. In a firm real-time system, after the deadline, if the task is completed and it is unusable, it will be just ignored. Whereas in a soft real-time system, if the deadline is missed and uh, if the task is done after the deadline, then depending on how much delay it is taking after the deadline, to that extent, the performance will degrade. Okay. If several tasks meet deadline, then the performance of the system will degrade. Okay. So the typical examples are railway reservation system, web browsing, or any interactive application. In a web browsing, say for example, what we want, when you click on a particular button, say you are entering your detail and you are clicking on some button, OK or submit. When you click on the button, immediately you want the response. Okay, if you click on the button, maybe within 1 second or 2 seconds, if the response is received, the user will be happy. But say if it is taking 5 milliseconds, then the user will be less happy. If it is taking 10 milliseconds, then the user may be upset. If it is taking 20 milliseconds, then the user may get irritated, like that. Okay. So the extent to which the result is getting delayed from the deadline, to that extent, the performance will decrease. Okay. So such systems are called as soft real-time systems. So that's the same case in an interactive application also. Say for example, you are playing some video game and you are clicking on something. If the response comes quickly, the user will be happy and he'll be very much engaged. Otherwise, the user may not be engaged to that extent. This diagram shows soft real-time system. So here you can see this is the deadline point. So if the task is completed within the deadline, then it is fine. The extent to which it delays, to that extent, the performance will degrade. Okay. So if the task is completed at this point of time, it's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. Okay. It's you are expected at this time. It was done this time. Okay, fine. So it is a tolerable delay, right? Okay. But in case of firm real-time system, if the task was not completed within the deadline, then the result is just ignored. You just ignore the result. In case of hard real-time system, if the task was not completed within the deadline, then the system will fail. Totally, it will fail. It will create huge loss. So that's it about the real-time system. So what we have discussed here, in the sense, we have discussed a brief introduction about real-time system. We have tried to understand what's the difference between the real-time operating system and the traditional operating system, and how real-time in a real-time operating system is a time-critical systems, and how things should be done within the specific time, and what is the need for an operating system in a real-time system, and what are the different types of real-time systems like soft real-time system, hard real-time systems, firm real-time systems, and also we have discussed a few applications or examples for real-time operating system. Right? Let us stop here. Thank you.